What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Just come out here in the shop. I've got the bush hog here. I did a little paint work on it. I've got it hooked up to the tractor. I had to do some makeshift pins. Nobody has the proper pins for this bush hog, so my options were to either take a standard, well, I could have used a too small of a pin, which will wallow the hole out, or try to put some kind of bushing in there, or take a category 2 pin and grind the end of it down so it would fit, or that's really my only two options, because I couldn't get any. Nobody has the correct pins in stock, which is kind of weird because they sell these bush hogs, the Land Pride rotary cutters, at one of the tractor dealerships, and the guy, he didn't even know what I was talking about there for a minute. And so I went to the John Deere dealership, and there was a girl up there at the parts desk. She kind of knew what I was talking about, but they didn't have any either. She thought that they had one. She sold the last one a week ago or something. Anyway, so I did not get any pins. I went to Tractor Supply. They didn't have anything like that. And so I took a grinder and cut it down. It looks really bad, but it'll work. I got a little job lined up that I'm going to go do with this. Not going to do any filming on it because it's not anything interesting. It's like a hour job, 2-hour job, and where it's at, I can't really do any filming. But anyway, I'll try to get some filming of it if I get a job on like a field, a pasture. There's no, it's not around a business or anything, and where nobody will care about me filming and whatnot. But I don't know when that'll be. So anyway, I did some little paint correction work on this, and where it was all scratched up, I got some paint at Tractor Supply that's Kubota orange, new Kubota orange. They make two different Kubota oranges. Those of you Kubota people know that. They make an old, or what they call just a normal Kubota orange, was like, I don't know what year model they stopped at, but it was back in the day. And then the new Kubota orange is everything, I'm guessing probably made in the last 10 years or so. So that's what you're gonna find. You gotta look a little bit for it, because they don't really label the can real well. It don't say new Kubota orange on here, but it does on the shelf. And so this is made by Magic, but you can search or you can get some at the Kubota dealer, whichever. You'll pay a little more for it. But basically I had to touch up the sides where it was all scratched up at, and I was going to try to buff the top, but I decided just to spray a light coat across the top. It kind of helped cover some of the scratches up. I did like a really light spray. I only bought 2 cans of paint. I just wanted to bring the gloss back to it, and at least for it to look good for 30 minutes. It's going to get scratched up, and after I go cut this, I'm sure it's just going to look bad as it did before. But anyway, 2 cans of paint, it made it look a little bit better, helped my feelings for a little bit. I'll show you these pins that I did a hack job on. What I'm talking about. If you look, this outer hole here is a category 2 size, which is 1 1/8. The inner pin is a 7/8, which is category 1 size. And this pin is supposed to be stepped. And you can see where I did a hack job there with a grinder and grinded it down so that it would fit through there like that. I didn't really want to, could have made this hole bigger. I didn't really want to drill this hole out bigger, as much as just cutter cost and everything. But the idea behind this is, if you want to pull this cutter with a smaller tractor, the arms on a smaller tractor are closer together. So you would stick your pin through, and your pin, the actual pin that's supposed to go here, would stick out here, and then you put your arm on and then put your pin or whatever. That was the idea behind it. For my application, I really don't need that. But anyway, this one here, same deal, kind of a hack job, a way of doing it. I really need a lathe, and well, I don't have one. If I had a lathe, I could have cut those down and made a pin that would work. But I'm going to get some pins on order, whatnot. The top pin is just a standard, 1-inch category 2 top pin. Nothing special about it, so that was easy to get. But anyway, just kind of did a hack job on that. And I'll get some pins on order. Meanwhile, We're gonna go try this thing out. I bush hogged down in my front yard a little bit for about 30 minutes. It does seem to work okay. I checked the oil and the outer gearboxes. I didn't check the T-box because I didn't have a proper Allen wrench handy, and so I hadn't checked it yet, but I'm sure it's okay. Everything looked good on the outer boxes. The oil was good and clean. And so I got to get a trailer hooked up and get this thing loaded on a trailer. And I'm going to go do this little job I got lined up. All right, guys, we got her up there. I ain't going very far. I'm going to have to figure out exactly the best place to hollow this thing at. But I got about 3.5 foot here between the neck and the bucket. And on the back, I just got a chain throwed across. I need to figure out a better way. I don't like these tail wheels hanging off like they are because they could fall off if this pin come out. So I don't know, if I haul this thing around very much, up, figure out a better way to do it, run a strap through there, or get it over the, slide the ramps in and stick them in the ramps or something. I don't like that hanging there. I mean, you could probably haul it around a long time before you had issues. But if this pin breaks here bouncing, you know, that can fall out and fall in the road. So I'm gonna think on that and figure out a better way to do it. And I don't really like running my chain across like that. Scratches the paint up and whatnot, but so I ain't going very far. So that's what I'm doing for now. And I'll see if I can figure out a better way next time. Well, it's the next day. That turned out to be a little bigger job than I thought it was going to be. It was extremely sandy and dusty, and kind of made a mess of things in that fashion. I had issues with the tractor running hot. This cutter pulls pretty hard. It was pretty tall grass in some places, 4 foot tall. And then before I got done, there was a bunch of stuff that had to be moved and stuff out of the way, grown up. I hit all kinds of concrete and wood and everything else. And then it started raining, so I had to take a break, let it start raining. Then all the sandy stuff turned into mud. And but at least it killed the dust. So I had to finish mowing the wet grass. The thing cuts good. Just got to get all this wet grass and everything cleaned up that stuck to everything and all the mud and everything. The paint looks okay. Chipped off around the bottom right here, which I knew it would. Other than that, everything looks pretty good still. You can see right here where we rub the paint off. Right around the bottom, that's going to happen. But that took about, I don't know, I got about 6 hours showing on the tractor hour meter is how long it ran for. And probably 30 minutes of that I was actually stopped trying to cool the tractor off, because I stopped a couple times for 10 minutes at a time or so, trying to cool the tractor down. I don't know, I didn't have a thermometer to verify that the tractor was overheating, but the temperature gauge said it was overheating. So I don't know, I'm gonna look at that. I cleaned the radiator best I could with it on the tractor when I got the tractor, but I don't know how good I got it, so I'm hoping that there's still some garbage up in there that I missed in between the intercooler and the radiator. And so that's what I'm gonna check out today and see if I can get whatever's in there out. I may have to pull the radiator, I hope not, but I may have to. But we'll see. It's packed in here pretty tight. The way it is, I don't know if I can get you guys up in here to see. They do not make this stuff easy to work on. But here's your radiator, and this is the intercooler in front of it. And you got some screens in front of that. And it's kind of difficult the way they got it built to get in there and clean it out. I mean, you're trying to blow through the intercooler and through the radiator or wash, whichever you're doing. And so it's not really the best setup probably, but anyway, I don't know if I have to pull this intercooler out or not, but I'm gonna mess with it and see what I can come up with and look into why it is overheating. I did not hear any water boiling out when the gauge was saying it was hot. So And it's still full of coolant, looks like. Uh-oh. That does not look good. That looks like mud. Maybe it's just scale buildup in there. It's just a surface. I don't know. It's just, I don't think it's oil. It could be just that the coolant's never been changed, or it kind of looks like stop leak. Kind of what it looks like. So the radiator could be, the flues in the radiator could be partially clogged up. So we're gonna check it out and see what we got going on here. At least I hope so. I believe I found the issue. I've got the intercooler pulled off over here. You got to take off all kinds of stuff. This side bracket and a few bolts, a few screens. It's got a screen. It's got separate screens on everything, and they do not appear to be doing very much. The intercooler is actually not that bad. It's a little bit of stuff in there. We're gonna clean it out, but the radiator is clogged up, and these screens are not easily removable in the field like most tractors would have a slide out screen or a pull up screen or something. These has all got bolts in them, and I don't know, I guess it's a hydraulic cooler here. That's what that appears to be. But in behind here, if you look, I don't think that screen's doing very much at all. It is slam clogged up. The radiator slam clogged up behind it. And we probably are not going to be putting that screen back on there because it doesn't appear to be doing very much. And so we have got to get all this cleaned out of here, which is probably going to be fun. I'm going to go ahead and pull this screen off this hydraulic cooler as well and get it cleaned out. The radiator is the worst of it, it appears. I wasn't really thinking whenever they design this setup like this. I think the radiator's got the worst of it. Like I say, I never cleaned this when I got the tractor. I washed at it with everything intact the best I could, and I haven't really used the tractor heavily. I use it to pick up stuff and moving around the yard. I haven't put it under a load. But I did yesterday. So I'd like for that to come on loose. I'm gonna take that bolt there. Somebody had this off already and been messing with it, looks like. So I should be able to get in there and wash that out now. It's not going to be a quick deal. It's going to take a while. Whenever I bought the Duramax over there, it had been used on a farm for a while, I guess, because the radiator in it was about like this, and it took me over an hour. And I washed it with a steam cleaner. I didn't get up close, but I stood back from it and kept washing it, with the hot water and putting degreaser on it, and I finally got it clean. It's probably one of the reasons it had blowed head gaskets. But hopefully everything's okay on this. I let it cool off whenever the temperature got up and the light came on. Let it sit there, cut the PTO off, let it sit there for, 5 minutes or so, 10 minutes. And then, there was a water hose there. And I tried to rinse the radiator out best I could, but as you see, there's just no way to get in there to get to that stuff with everything assembled. So we're going to get it washed out, and hopefully that will correct the problem. Alright guys, I got everything cleaned out. Got it where you can put water straight through every fin, went up and down every little flue there, and see it come out the backside. Same thing on the hydraulic cooler there and on the intercooler over there. I'm not putting these screens back on there they don't appear to do any good. And the holes in the side covers where it draws air is actually smaller than the screen anyway. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The only thing these screens seem to do is make it harder to wash it out once it gets in there. Because as you see, it definitely didn't keep it from getting in there. And they're not easily removable without tools to take them off to be able to clean it. So that doesn't make much sense to me. So I'm not putting them back on there. Alright guys, I got everything pretty well put back on there, except for the screens. I'm not putting them back on there because they clog up with stuff, as you see. And without them on there, you can actually get in here a little better and rough this stuff out. Because it had, you know, a screen over here, screen behind here. There's no way to get the screens out to do anything with them without bolts, tools. So that's not ideal when you're bush hogging in the field and you need to clean your radiator out and you need wrenches to pull a screen out. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to run it without some. That way, if there's a water hose or air hose around, even the way it is, you can pull the side covers off. You get some of it off with your hand, you know, better than you could anyway. So I believe that'll help. And I'm going to pull this thing on outside here and go ahead and rinse all this mud and dust off the tractor while I got the water hooked up. Well guys, I got everything washed up. I didn't use any soap or anything. I just mainly wanted to get all that grass. I didn't want all that grass sitting on top of everything. The paint job didn't fare very well after that. This paint's supposed to take 24 hours to cure, and it wasn't quite 24 hours whenever I put this thing in use. And I did not sand this. I didn't wet sand it like I should have. Take the time to you know, prep the surface where the paint would adhere properly. I just kind of sprayed over it a little bit to make it look better. And so after bush hogging with the paint that wasn't fully cured, and I don't know that it would adhere fully anyway, because like I say, I didn't prep it like I should have. I'll say that. But the paint is peeling off in some spots. The little light coating I put on there, you can see right up here in certain spots. Some of that's water, but you should be able to see. You can see kind of down here on this edge a little bit, but it's one of them deals I'm not too worried about. You can see right, well, I guess, I don't know how well the camera's picking up. You can see certain spots of it where it's peeling off. It's not the end of the world. It's a bush hog, and as long as it's not the color of rust, I think it's going to be okay. I'll go back and touch that up eventually. As I say, you're never going to keep paint on the sides of a bush hog if you use it very much. And if you let it sit outside very much, this color orange, well, fades, and Mahindra red fades as well. So it is what it is. It ain't like they put an automotive quality paint job on this or anything, you know, whenever it's new. And usually within the first few years or something, implement use and tractor use on some of this stuff is you wind up having to repaint a lot of it anyway. So definitely not the end of the world. It looks better than it did. We got the little bush hogging job done that needed to get done. Everything went pretty well. I didn't have any problems with the cut or anything. Like I say, the main problem I had was a tractor overheating. I think we got that taken care of. I did notice, and I don't know if I did this or if it was already like this, I just happened to notice it, that this wheel right here, the wheel itself is bent, and when it rolls, it don't roll true. It's got a little bit of a kind of a wobbly motion to it. It's not hurting anything, but I did notice it. So I don't know if I hit something backing up or whatnot, or if it was already like that. I just didn't notice it. You don't really notice it looking at it, but if you got it up off the ground and you spin it, you can see it kind of do this. But you know, that doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect the use of it or anything. As long as it's round and it rolls, it'll work on a bush hog. So anyway, hopefully that corrected the overheating problem, as I say. And my makeshift pins, I didn't have any problem with those. I still got to to order the correct pins there. But overall, pretty happy with the purchase there, I believe. And hopefully this thing will last for 25 years without much issue. At least that's what I'm hoping for. So anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.